Hello everyone. Our group focused on Ruggable and its position in the machine washable rug category. Ruggable helped change the rug industry by making washable rug feel like a real home decor option, not just a practical cleaning solution. When Ruggable first became popular, the washable rug system itself was a major advantage. But the challenge now is different. Washability used to be the thing that's made Ruggable stand out, where today competitors and major retailers also sell washable rugs. So that feature alone is not enough anymore. That led us to our main question: how does Ruggable defend its leadership now that the category has caught up? Our answer is that Ruggable needs to become the brand customer recognize, trust, and choose first. We use Tumble as a competitor foil because it's compete in the same category with many of the same customers, but it uses different strategies. What we will cover. Here is the roadmap of our presentation. First, we will introduce the matchup between Ruggable and Tumble and explain why they are useful to compare. Then we will move into part one, which is the strategic context. This is where we look at the category, Ruggable's growth stage, and positioning against Tumble. After that, Dawn will take us into part two, which is the current marketing analysis. She will cover segmentation, targeting, positioning, the marketing funnel, and PESO. Then Elena will continue part two by focusing on touchpoints, repetition, brand identity, and the brand versus performance spend read. Finally, Sid will close with part three, which is our strategic recommendation, segment expansion toward younger renter. Introduction and brand proposal. Two brands, one category, different games. For our brand proposal, we chose Ruggable as a focal brand and Tumble as a competitor foil. These two brands make sense together because they are in the same category and are going after many of the same customers. Both sell washable rugs, both rely heavily on direct-to-customer channels, both appeal to people who want a rug that can handle real life. The difference is how they compete. Tumble is more focused on function, convenience, and simplicity. Its message is basically this rug is washable, spill-proof, and easy to manage, and made for everyday messes. Ruggable competes differently. It focuses more on design, lifestyle, and trust. It has broader styling, stronger collaborations, and a clearer premium home decor identity. So our recommendation is not for Ruggable to become more like Tumble. Our recommendation is for Ruggable to extend what already works to younger renters before their home buying habits are fully formed. Part 1. Strategic context and positioning diagnosis. Before we evaluate Ruggable's marketing or make a recommendation, we have to understand the environment the brand is competing in. This part is basically about the board Ruggable is playing on. We are looking at the category, the growth stage, and the competitive position. That matters because the stage that helps a company create a category is not always the same strategy that helps defend leadership once the category matures. So part one is asking, where does advantage actually come from now? Is it still the washable feature, or has the competition moved somewhere else? Category dynamics. Washability is now the expectation at the edge. The biggest shift in this category is that washability is now expected. It is no longer enough by itself to separate the brand. When Ruggable first introduced its washable rug system, that was a meaningful point of difference. Customers had to learn that a rug could be washable and still look good in a home. Now the customer question has changed. It used to be, is a washable rug worth buying? Where now it is, which washable rug brand is worth choosing? That is important because rugs are still a considered purchase. People compare prices, reviews, appearances, quality, and how the product will fit in their home. They usually do not buy a rug without thinking about it. So when the functional differences start to feel similar, trust and brand memory become more important. Ruggable answers that with a premium styling and lifestyle, where Tumble answers with simplicity and convenience. Growth stage and market footprint. A defender and a challenger in the same market. Ruggable is no longer just educating people about washable rugs. That was the earlier stage. Today, most customers already understand the category, so growth is less about explaining washable rugs and more about winning preference inside an established category. That puts Ruggable in a defending leadership position. It is still growing, but it also has to protect the position it already built. We see that through international expansion, selective retail partnership like Anthropology, and continued investment in brand recognition. Tumble is in a different position. It's still more of a challenger trying to gain share. Its strategy is narrower, simpler, and more function-led. That explains why the two brands communicate so differently, even though they sell similar product. Ruggable is protecting its leadership, where Tumble is trying to win share by making the product feel simpler and easier. Positioning, price tier, and promotional posture. Ruggable is a premium by design. It is not trying to be the cheapest ruggable or washable rug option, and it really should not try to be. Its prices range from about $129 to more than $1,000 depending on the size and the collection. That price range supports its position as a premium home decor brand. The collaborations also matter. Partnerships with names like Disney, Jonathan Adler, and Morris and Company give Ruggable design credibility that is not easy for smaller competitors to copy. Tumble is in a similar general category, but it communicates value and convenience more directly. It focuses on setup, stain resistance, and simple maintenance. So the big takeaway from part one is this. Ruggable should keep protecting its premium design position instead of letting price and promotions become the main story. Now I will pass it over to Dawn for part two.
Thanks, Doa. Part 2, Current Marketing Analysis. How every channel answers a different customer question. Now that we understand the category and where Ruggable stands, Part 2 looks at how Ruggable actually competes through marketing. This part is about the current marketing machine. We looked at segmentation, targeting, and positioning, then the marketing funnel, PESO, touchpoints, brand identity, and the brand versus performance balance. The main idea is that Ruggable's marketing works best when each channel has a job. Not every channel has to say the exact same thing, but every channel should build the same overall impression of the brand. Segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Segmenting by how people want to live. Ruggable's segmentation goes beyond basic demographics. Income matters because this is a premium product. Customers have to see a rug as both a household purchase and a home decor investment. But the stronger segment is really about lifestyle. Ruggable speaks to people who want their home to look beautiful while still standing up to everyday life. That includes parents, pet owners, renters, homeowners, and design-conscious shoppers. They may look different demographically, but they share the same tension. They want style and practicality, not one over the other. Tumble reaches many of the same households, but it stays closer to product performance. Tumble is more about solving the mess and making the rug easy to manage. Ruggable goes further. It gives customers function, but it also gives them the feeling of the home they want to create. That is the key difference between Tumble is the practical solution for busy households. Ruggable is the design and lifestyle choice. IMC in the marketing funnel. A funnel that creates desire, then must deliver it. Ruggable's funnel is strong because it creates desire before customers are even ready to shop. At the top of the funnel, Ruggable leads with inspiration. It uses lifestyle photography, Pinterest, Reels, collaborations, and creators to help customers imagine a space before they think through product details. That is important because Ruggable is not just saying, here is a washable rug. It's helping customers imagine the kind of home they want. In the middle of the funnel, customers need reassurance. Rugs are considered purchases, so people want to know how the rug works, how it washes, and whether it's worth the price. Ruggable's How It Works content helps bridge that gap. At the bottom of the funnel, the challenge is friction. Ruggable has a lot of options, which is a strength, but it can also slow people down. Tumble feels simpler because it has a narrower assortment, so the opportunity is not to cut variety. It is to make buying feel as smooth as the inspiration that brought customers there. PESO Media Mix. 4 channels, 4 customer questions. Looking at PESO, Ruggable's media mix works because each type of media answers a different customer question. Paid media answers, why should I notice this brand? It introduces Ruggable through designed spaces, collaborations, and visuals that feel memorable. Earned media answers, why should I trust this brand? Outside reviews and coverage help reduce risk because customers may trust third-party sources more than brands claim. Shared media answers, will this fit my life? This is where Instagram, Pinterest creators, and customer photos matter. They show the rug in real homes with pets, kids, guests, and everyday activity. Owned media answers, am I ready to buy? The website product pages, size guides, and education help customers make the final decision. Together, these channels build one consistent premium identity. Each channel has a different role, but they all point back to the same idea. A home can be beautiful and still be lived in. I will hand it off to Alana to continue with touchpoints and brand identity.
Thanks, Dawn. One of the strongest parts of Ruggable's marketing is not just that the customers see the brand often. It is that every touch point feels like the same brand. Home decor is not usually a one-click decision. Customers may see something on Instagram, save a Pinterest idea, read a review, measure their room, leave the site, and then come back later. That means repetition matters, but only if it's consistent. If every touch point feels disconnected, the repetition does not help. Ruggable keeps reinforcing the same impression across the journey, a home that looks beautiful but can still be lived in. That is what builds memory before customers are actively shopping. By the time they start comparing options, Ruggable already feels familiar and fewer competitors get seriously considered. Ruggable's branding shows how the competition has shifted. Customers are not really deciding whether they want a washable rug anymore. Instead, they're deciding which washable rug brand that they actually trust. That is why Ruggable's identity matters so much. The brand uses warm interiors, natural light, neutral palettes, and lived-in spaces. It feels aspirational, but not so perfect that it feels unreachable. That is also where Ruggable separates itself from Tumble. Tumble builds confidence in the product, while Ruggable builds confidence in the lifestyle around the product. That is much harder to copy. A competitor can copy a washable feature or offer a simpler rug pad, but it is much harder to copy years of customer perception and brand meeting. So Ruggable's advantage is not just what it sells, it's what the customers already associate with the brand before they ever even start shopping. Ruggable does not publish its exact marketing budget, so this is an estimate based on what we can see. The brand appears to be close to a 60-40 balance, about 60% towards brand building and 40% towards performance marketing. That makes sense for this category. Performance marketing is important because it captures people who are already searching and ready to buy, but brand building, that does a different job. It builds familiarity before the customer even starts shopping. That matters because rugs are considered purchases. People do not buy them every week. They may take weeks to compare options, or they may go years before replacing one. Ruggable's Take the Floor campaign is a good example because it focuses on self-expression and the emotional role of home, and not just the rug technology. So the point is not that performance does not matter, because it does. But for Ruggable, brand building is what protects the premium position and makes performance work better later. So now that we have the context and the marketing analysis, part 3 is where we make the recommendation. Our chosen condition is segment expansion. The important thing here is that we're not recommending a totally new brand. We're not recommending a new product or a price war. We're also not saying that Ruggable should reposition itself away from what already works. The recommendation is more focused than that. Ruggable should extend its existing design-led identity to a new customer group earlier in the home furnishing journey. In simple terms, Ruggable should become the first premium home decor brand customers choose, not just the brand that they discover at the end after comparing everyone else.
Thank you, Alana. So, our recommendation is to win young renters and be their first choice and not their last. So, our recommendation is really just expanding to that younger audience, roughly between the ages of 22 to 35. And primarily we are looking at renters because they could be furnishing an apartment later on than their first home and or maybe a shared living space. So they might not think of themselves as traditional homeowners yet, but they are still investing in spaces that reflect who they are. Now, for renters, a rug can do a lot of the work. So they may not be able to paint the walls or replace flooring or really make any major permanent changes to the structure or to their apartment. So a rug becomes one of the easiest ways to make a temporary place feel like a home. This is why this is a natural extension for Ruggable. The brand does not have to change very much. It already owns design, style, and of course everyday livability. The value also compounds because someone who buys a Ruggable for their first apartment may come back later and buy another one for a bigger apartment or their first home or a family space. So that makes this more than a one-time sale. The key is not to drift into discounts, demos, and price comparisons. That is where Tumble already competes very well. The segment scorecard. This is the young renters actually pass all 7 of the tests. So to make sure this segment is not just a nice idea, we definitely had to run them through this scorecard. The first one, it is identifiable. We can define the segment by age, life stage, and housing situation. Second, it is reachable. Young renters spend time on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest, especially for apartment tours, renter-friendly decorating, and room makeover content. Third, it is different. This group values flexibility, self-expression, and products that can move with them. Fourth, it is actionable. Ruggable can build landing pages, creator content, build apartment building bundles, and then, of course, small space recommendations around this audience. Fifth, it fits the brand. Ruggables already connects design with real life. Sixth, it is defensible. Tumble can own a more function-first message, but Ruggable can own the more design-forward renter space. And of course, seventh, it has future value because renters can become repeat buyers as their living situation grows. So our verdict is that young renters are a strong fit across all 7 criteria. Positioning and creativity strategy, or creative strategy. Your space, your style, no stress. For this segment, our recommended positioning statement is as follows. For young renters who want their apartment to feel like home, Ruggable offers premium washable rugs that make it easy to create a space that reflects their personality without sacrificing everyday practicality. The campaign idea is your space, your style, no stress. That phrase works because it connects the emotional and practical sides of the purchase. It is not just saying this rug is washable. It is saying you can make this space feel like yours, and you don't have to stress about real life happening in it. The creative should show realistic apartments, not luxury staging. It should feel attainable. The rug should support the story and not be the whole story. The message order matters as well. So emotional relevance should come first. Practical education should come second. Product proof should come last. That mirrors the funnel we talked about earlier. The twist in evidence. One brand voice, retargeted for renters. This slide shows the twist in evidence, which is important because the recommendation needs to be specific and visible. So if you look on the left, this is the current type of play. A polished post around a designer collaboration. That works for homeowners and design shoppers because it reinforces Ruggable's premium design identity, which is absolutely great. But for what we're trying to do, we have to look at the right side, the post on the right side, which is the renter's version. It is still Ruggable, but the message is retargeted for a different life stage. Instead of a styled photo, it becomes a short creator reel showing the first apartment going from plain and temporary to warm and personal. So this message the message really just changes. Instead of exploring the collection or something like that, it's more of a call to action. So it could be something like first apartment essentials, What I want to point out is that the brand does not really change. The warmth, design focus, and premium feel is really still there. The difference is the audience, the format, and the situation. This is what makes this a true segment expansion. We are not creating a new brand. We are applying the same brand promise to a new customer moment. Customer journey and channel strategy. 4 stages, 4 jobs. The channel strategy should match how young renters actually shop. They usually do not move into an apartment and immediately buy everything. They gather ideas, save posts, watch apartment tours, compare products, measure rooms, and then ultimately make a decision. So each stage has a different job. The first is inspiration. So really, TikTok and Instagram Reels should show transformations, moving day content, and realistic apartment setups. This gets the large investment because this is where the audience is discovering ideas. Second is validation. This is where the Pinterest boards and longer YouTube makeovers kind of come in. They can help prove that the style works in real spaces and on a realistic budget. Third is consideration. This is where Ruggable should reduce friction with landing pages like first apartment essentials, small space favorites, or moving soon? Start here. Finally, conversation. This comes through paid search, shopping ads, email, and really retargeting for customers who have already shown interest. This idea is that each stage hands confidence to the next. Inspiration creates awareness. Validation ends up building trust. Consideration just simplifies it all, and the conversation closes. Budget allocation and brand investment. So this is where we're going to break it down. We're going to break down that budget and show you where that money goes, and we're going to show you why the brand leads. So we recommend the traditional 60-40 or maybe even a 65-35, which means that 60 to 65% should be brand building and 40 to 35% should really be performance. This slide breaks it down into the following. We have 25% going to TikTok and Instagram Reels, 20% for creator partnerships, 15% for Pinterest, 20% for paid search and shopping, and the last 20% for email and retargeting. The reason brand leads is that renters may collect ideas for months before actually buying something. They may not be ready today, but if Ruggable shows up early in the planning process, the brand has a better chance of being remembered later. Performance still matters, but it should support existing preferences. So paid search, shopping ads, email, retargeting are really just useful once someone has actually shown interest. The risk would be letting performance dominate so much that Ruggable gets pulled into discounts, demos, and price comparisons. That's kind of where we move into Tumble's turf. So the defended 60/40 call is this: lean brand because the goal is to build a memory and preference early, then use performance to convert the demand that brand building creates. And this leads us all to our conclusion: the brand customers choose before they shop. So to close this out, the basis of competition is this category has changed because Ruggable's advantage is no longer just it sells a washable rug. Many brands could do that now. The advantage is that Ruggable has built a stronger brand around design, trust, and the feeling of a home that is both beautiful and livable. Tumble is still a serious competitor because its message is simple and practical. But Ruggable has a strong long-term position if it keeps building preference before customers start shopping. That is why young renters are such a strong opportunity. Ruggable can introduce its premium identity earlier in the home journey before habits and default brands form. So the final takeaway is simple: keep the design-led identity consistent everywhere, and let performance marketing convert the demand the brand creates. Your space, your style, no stress. Thank you so much for your time.